Shane, how about a use case for generative AI at CIS?
So USCIS, we obviously, and as I pointed out earlier, we do love our shiny things, and so we
Hmm.
jumped at the chance to be part of the pilot programs that DHS is sponsoring as part of our overall generative AI approach for the agency or for the department actually. And so because of that, we put in for a use case. In our case, we took on something. The idea behind the pilots was to test the technologies, but not do so that until we get our feet wet and we understand what we're doing. We wanted to make sure that whatever we did was not going to cause potential privacy spill or other sensitive data spill. So we chose training. Obviously, training is very important to us. We spent a lot of time, a lot of money training our immigration officers and asylum officers. And the work that they do is unbelievably complex, and it requires them to have a whole lot of knowledge. They have to learn how to do a lot of these activities, while also understanding all the laws that are required behind that. So getting better and training for our officers is a clear win for the agency. So when we took on the pilot project, we chose asylum training so that our officers who do this work, where they have to be able to interview people on credible fear. A lot of time and energy spent doing this. Normally with live people, we actually have actors that we bring in to do this training. So generative AI offered us the ability for them to interact with a human-like entity that would mimic the responses that they would expect. And we worked with the actual asylum officers who've been doing this work for years and years to help kind of build and frame the responses. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the generative AI solution could respond in very unique and interesting ways. So you would ask it, "Hey, why is it that you want to come to the United States?" And it would answer, "Oh, I'm afraid to go. I'm afraid to go home." And it would require the officer to start probing as it would be in a real world situation. And the generative AI was creative in its responses. And it's a really interesting use case. And I'm not sure it's going to necessarily replace all of our training at this point, but it does offer that promise. There's a lot of potential for that. There's other use cases we're looking at as well, things that are really the generative AI offers us, especially in our space where our clientele, our customers are worldwide and come from every single solitary country. Much like Matt over there at State, he's probably thinking about this as well, that translation is a big deal for us. We spend a lot of money, a lot of resources spent on ensuring we have translation services. Generative AI offers that real-time capability that we're looking at for potential for really kind of augmenting our capabilities. Now, I will say, and I want to be super clear about this, USCIS is not looking to utilize AI to make immigration decisions. That will always be done by our trained officers, obviously. But we do see the future for Gen AI in augmenting and providing that assistance that they so desperately need. The laws, the policies, and the changes to those laws and policies are so unbelievably immense. It's very difficult for people to stay on top of. If we could provide generative AI solutions behind the scenes that augment that work, it allows them to get back to the work of doing the immigration.